Quilting and stencils go hand in hand. Transferring stencil designs to your quilt project can be as simple as 1, 2, 3. First, a plain block can easily become a design feature when using a square stencil. Transfer the design to the center of the block using a Clover mechanical pencil. Now they come in 3 different colorations. Test out the pencils right on your fabric, and you can see obviously the pink or the gray would be the best choices. And I'm going to choose the gray and just center the stencil block on your fabric block and mark in the openings. After marking all around the stencil, you can do hand quilting or machine quilting, whatever you prefer. Our small sample shows the machine quilting, and to remove any of the excess mark, just use the brush at the end of the stencil. And they'll all come out. Simple as that. The second way of transferring a stencil, I'm going to show you using a continuous stencil. Again, another sample, concentrating this time on the blue border area of my sample cloth. I have placed a pin at the center of the border length because the stencil that I'm choosing, I'm going to mirror image. I'm going to have half the stencil go in one direction from the center point and then the other direction from the center. But before doing any marking, I like to see how many sections of stencil fit within the border. So roughly lay it out. So here I have 1 and here's 2. And you can see that the stencil extends beyond the border area. We'll be eliminating a portion of the stencil, or you could slightly shift it if you'd like. I usually just like to eliminate a portion of it. Another method of transferring the stencil is to use a quilt pounce. Filled with chalk, the pounce will transfer the markings. And just brush and transfer. Then pick up the stencil and move, and there are markings where you can align it at the seam and match. And then I'll just simply be eliminating one of the stencil designs at the end. Or you can mark and simply not stitch it. The stencil markings will come off after sewing with a steam iron. Simple as that. And now for the third idea of transferring stencils is to work with a film, a stabilizer. It's by Madeira, cut and iron away super film, and you can draw your stencils directly on the stabilizer. Let this stabilizer be the middleman, eliminating the need to mark the stencil directly on the fabric. I'm going to trace the design, the stencil design, right on the film using a permanent marker. You could use a finer line, Sharpie, or a medium line. I'm using the medium right now. Just mark the stencil shapes right on strips of the film. And at this point, you don't have to take any care of getting it straight because we'll pin it onto the fabric. This is for machine quilting. Then after you have marked strips of stabilizer with your keystone, this is kind of like a Greek key stencil, position it on your fabric. Again, a sample fabric is what I have here. And now you can adjust and position these so that just the way you'd like them to look. We'll have this go in this direction, and this stencil would go here. And I could just kind of adjust these. I wouldn't have to worry about getting it placed exactly because I can position it that way. Then you layer your quilt, backing, batting, and then do the machine quilting. And I have done some sample machine quilting on this sample. You can see I stitched using this time a Sashiko machine, stitching through the plastic, and then I've trimmed away some of the excess plastic. Now to eliminate the film, you can use the heat of the iron. Follow your instructions, but you will find that a medium heat is what the instructions ask for. And then place the sole of your iron over the stencil and move it just slightly. So when you have your machine quilting in this area, you'll find that the stabilizer will melt, and then you just brush away, and I'll just press a little bit more, brush away all the stabilizer. And there you have your stitching. Nancy's Notions offers a full selection of stencils, marking pens, quilting notions, and stabilizers to test out your new quilting skills. Order your supplies today.